Good day, Saints. I hope we are all doing well by God's grace. Today's scriptural reading will be taken from the book of 1 Samuel, focusing on chapter 1 and chapter 2. We will be focusing on the unique story of Hannah, who is Prophet Samuel's mother. In chapter 1 of 1 Samuel, we come to know that Hannah is the first wife of Elkanah, who had two wives. The second wife is Peninnah, who bore her husband many children. You also come to know that Elkanah was a man devoted to the Lord. He devoted his household to the Lord and everything that he owned. In verse 3, we come to know that Elkanah took his entire family year after year from his hometown to Shiloh to go and worship and sacrifice to the Lord. In verse 4 to 5, it is brought to our attention that Elkanah loved Hannah more than he did Peninnah, and also that the Lord had closed Hannah's womb. This reminds me of the story of Leah and Rachel, of how much Jacob loved Rachel and was not attentive to Leah, that God enabled Leah to conceive and closed off Rachel's womb. This can be found in Genesis chapter 29, verse 31. And for Hannah's story, we note a similar pattern. When reading further this passage, we come to the part where Hannah would experience mocking from her co-wife and from those around her. This is the pain that causes Hannah to be motivated to plead with the Lord. Her pain became the encouragement to press in with the Lord. She knew that her help could only come from the Lord and no place else. And for someone who has been without the fruit of the womb, she does something incredible. She asks the Lord for the fruit of the womb, the blessing thereof, and on the same request that she tells the Lord that the blessing of the womb that the Lord will give her, she will not convert it for herself, but she will rededicate it to the Lord, where the child will live forever as a servant of the Lord. Some of us have promises we made to the Lord pertaining to the blessings we were asking Him for. But once we received the blessings, we began to convert them for ourselves, forgetting that the Lord blesses and the Lord can take away, as Job said in Job chapter 1, verse 21. It is dangerous business, brethren, to promise something to the Lord and you not fulfill it. Keep to your promises made to the Lord. In Hannah's story, we know that God heard her plea and blessed her with a prophet for the nation of Israel. The prophet who would go on to anoint kings for the Lord, and she named him Samuel, meaning God has heard or heard by God. Hannah kept her promise to God, and when Samuel was weaned, she took him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh and dedicated him to the Lord and gave him to the Lord, meaning she left him to grow in the house of the Lord, for the Lord to be the one who watches over the child. I can just imagine how difficult it must have been for Hannah. The one thing she had long yearned for, she had to give it up in a sense that she will not be the one raising the boy, but the Lord would be. The things of the Lord, brethren, require sacrifice, and Hannah understood even before she conceived this child that it will be her sacrifice to the Lord, for the Lord being the Lord that hears her and the Lord that sees her in all things. In chapter 2, we see that Hannah was delighted to keep her promises to God. She did not leave the child in the house of the Lord with a heart full of sorrow, but instead she did it with a thankful heart, with a heart filled with songs of praise to the Lord who has heard her. We see that Hannah's thanksgiving attitude is an attitude that we should also possess when we keep our promises to God, irregardless of how uncomfortable the promise is. We need to be women and men of integrity and women and men who keep our promises to the Lord. And we see that in the story of Hannah, Hannah did exactly that. With the only blessing of her womb that God had given her, she gave it back to the Lord. So my prayer for us is that we would, women and men of integrity, those who keep our promises made to Him, who is our Lord and Maker, that we will be people that only trust in the Lord as Hannah only trusted in the Lord to be able to receive this fruit of the womb. May we trust in the Lord with everything that we have, and we should remember that the promises that we make to God, we should make sure to fulfill them to Him. May we have a great day.